Today I am reviewing the Logitech G29 Driving Force Racing Wheel. If at any time you'd like to explore this product for yourself and grab it at a great price, be sure to check the links below the video. If you have ever spent hours playing racing games with a standard controller, you know that eventually, you hit a wall where you just cannot get the precision you need to shave those last few tenths of a second off your lap time. I have been putting the Logitech G29 through its paces for the last month, using it across everything from arcade racers to more serious simulation titles, and I have a lot to say about whether this aging veteran is still the king of the entry-level market. If you are curious about the current pricing or want to see the specific technical specifications for your own setup, you can check the links below the video to explore the product. Let's start with the build quality, because this is where the G29 really separates itself from the cheap plastic wheels that flood the market. When you take this out of the box, it feels like a serious piece of hardware. The hand-stitched leather cover on the wheel rim is the first thing you notice, and it actually makes a massive difference during long sessions. It provides a tactile, premium grip that prevents your hands from slipping when the force feedback starts to fight you in a high-speed corner. I have used wheels with rubberized grips before, and they usually get sticky or start to peel after a few weeks of heavy use, but the leather on the G29 has held up perfectly. The force feedback system is the heart of any racing wheel, and in the G29, it is handled by a dual-motor gear-driven system. This is a crucial point for potential buyers to understand. Unlike the more expensive direct-drive wheels that use powerful motors attached directly to the steering shaft, the G29 uses helical gearing. This means it is physically moving gears inside the housing to provide that resistance. The good news is that it is surprisingly quiet. You are not going to wake up your entire house when you are playing late at night, which is a major advantage for anyone living in an apartment or sharing a space. The feedback is detailed enough that you can feel the surface changes on the track, the loss of traction when you hit a patch of grass, and the heavy weight of the car as you dive into a hairpin turn. However, you do have to manage your expectations. Because it is a gear-driven system, there is a very slight notchiness to the steering if you are looking for it. It is not the buttery smooth, instant response you get from a top-tier professional rig, but for the price point, it is incredibly consistent and reliable. The pedal set is often where manufacturers cut corners, but Logitech did a great job here. You get a 3-pedal setup which includes the clutch, which is a big deal if you want to use a manual shifter. The brake pedal is the standout feature because it is nonlinear. It is designed to mimic the feel of a pressure-sensitive brake system in a real car. As you push down, it gets progressively harder to depress. This is a game-changer for trail braking. It allows you to modulate your braking force with much more precision than a standard spring-loaded pedal. I found that it took me about 3 days to really get the muscle memory down for the brake travel, but once I did, my consistency improved dramatically. If you are interested in checking out the current pricing or seeing if this fits your existing desk setup, feel free to check the links below the video. One of the most practical aspects of the G29 is its compatibility. It works seamlessly with the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC. I tested it across all 3 platforms, and the setup process was essentially plug and play. On the PC, you will want to download the Logitech G Hub software to fine-tune your rotation settings and force feedback levels. The 900-degree rotation is a massive feature. Being able to turn the wheel 2.5 times lock-to-lock allows for total control, whether you are drifting in a rally game or taking tight corners in a track racer. It feels like you are actually driving a vehicle rather than just playing a game. Now, let's talk about the weaknesses, because no product is perfect. The biggest disappointment for some users will be the force feedback strength. If you are coming from a high-end direct-drive wheel, this is going to feel weak. You simply cannot get those bone-shaking, high-torque sensations that simulate a real-world collision or a heavy chassis impact. It is definitely powerful enough to give you a workout after an hour of racing, but it lacks that raw, unadulterated power that the enthusiasts crave. Also, the mounting system for the pedals is solid, but if you have a hardwood floor, they will slide around. I highly recommend using a rug or a dedicated racing rig mount. The pedal base has a carpet grip system underneath that works well if you're on a rug, but if you're on a slick surface, you might find yourself pushing the pedals away from you in the heat of a race. Another point of contention is the shifter. The G29 comes with paddle shifters on the back of the wheel, and they feel great. They have a metallic, crisp click that provides excellent feedback every time you shift. However, if you want the H-pattern stick shifter, you have to buy it separately. It is a bit of a bummer that it is not included in the box, especially since many racing games feel much more immersive when you are manually shifting through the gears. If you are serious about the full experience, you should factor the cost of that extra shifter into your budget. When you are looking at the value proposition, this is still one of the best entry-level wheels on the market. It bridges the gap between toy-grade controllers and professional-grade simulation equipment perfectly. I think the intended buyer for the G29 is someone who is moving from a controller to their first real wheel and wants something that will last for years. This is not a flimsy piece of gear. The use of recycled plastic in the construction is a nice touch, but it does not feel cheap. It feels substantial. If you are a casual gamer who only plays once a month, this might be overkill, and you might be better off sticking with a controller. But if you find yourself playing racing titles weekly and you're frustrated by the lack of control, this is a massive upgrade. It will fundamentally change the way you play games like Gran Turismo, F1, or Forza. There are some users who should avoid this, though. If you are a competitive esports racer who needs the absolute fastest, most responsive feedback possible to compete at a professional level, you are going to outgrow this wheel quickly. You should probably save your money and invest in a direct drive system from the start. Also, if you do not have a sturdy desk or a dedicated gaming chair to mount this to, you might find the setup process frustrating. This wheel is designed to be clamped down. If you try to use it on a flimsy folding table, you're going to have a bad time because the force feedback will cause the whole table to vibrate and shift while you're trying to drive. The value is really in the longevity. I have seen G29 units that have been used for thousands of hours and still function perfectly. That is the kind of reliability you want when you are dropping this much money on gaming hardware. The software support from Logitech has been consistent, and most major racing games have native profiles for the G29, meaning you rarely have to spend time messing with button mapping. You just plug it in, launch the game, and go. If you're curious about the technical details or want to see if there are any seasonal discounts available, you can check the links below the video to explore the product further. One thing that surprised me during my testing was how well the wheel handled different types of games. I expected it to be great for track racing, but I was surprised at how much fun it was for rally games. Being able to quickly countersteer and manage the weight transfer of the car using the wheel is a completely different experience compared to using a joystick. The responsiveness of the motors is quick enough to catch the car when it starts to slide, provided you have your settings dialed in correctly. I also want to address the aesthetic. It is a very black, utilitarian design. It does not have flashy RGB lighting or aggressive styling, which I personally appreciate. It looks professional and fits into any home office or gaming setup without looking like a toy. The button layout is also well thought out. You have all the PlayStation buttons right there on the wheel, so you can navigate menus, change settings, and even take screenshots without ever having to reach for a controller. It is a small detail, but it makes the user experience significantly smoother. If you are worried about the learning curve, do not be. It takes about an hour to get used to the wheel, and maybe a few days to get your braking and throttle control down. Once you cross that threshold, you will never want to go back to a controller. The immersion is just on a different level. You start to feel the car's weight, you start to anticipate the grip levels, and you start to drive with a level of intentionality that you just cannot achieve with a thumbstick. In terms of disappointments, I wish the power cable was a little longer. If you have a large desk or if your outlet is far away, you will definitely need an extension cord. It is a minor gripe, but it is one of those real-world inconveniences that you only notice once you have everything set up. Also, the leather rim, while comfortable, can get a bit warm during intense summer sessions. It is a small price to pay for the grip, but it is something to keep in mind. Overall, the Logitech G29 is a reliable, well-built, and highly capable racing wheel. It is not the newest kid on the block, and it does not have the latest, most advanced technology, but it does exactly what it is supposed to do, and it does it consistently. If you are looking for a way to take your racing game experience to the next level without spending a fortune on a professional simulator rig, this is the gold standard for a reason. It is durable, it is supported by almost every racing game on the market, and it provides a genuine, immersive driving experience that makes every lap feel like a challenge. If you want to check the current price or see if it is the right time to pull the trigger on your first wheel, remember that you can check the links below the video to explore the product. I really think that for the vast majority of people, this is all the wheel you will ever need. You can spend more, but you are hitting diminishing returns very quickly. The G29 strikes that perfect balance between price, performance, and build quality. It is a workhorse, not a show horse. It is there to help you race, not to sit on a shelf and look pretty. And after testing it for a month, I can honestly say that if mine broke tomorrow, I would likely go out and buy another one without a second thought. It has earned its place on my desk, and it has definitely made me a faster, more consistent driver. Whether you're a casual player looking for more fun, or an aspiring sim racer looking to build your skills, this is a solid investment that will serve you well for a long time. Just make sure you have a solid place to mount it, and you will be ready to hit the track.